Welcome back. We've now finished our index page for our Bootstrap template, and in this next few videos we're going to be creating the last few pages to finish off our Bootstrap template, and then we can start converting to WordPress. So in this video we're going to be starting with the blog page. So if we take a look at the finished project, we can get an idea of what we're going to be creating. So we'll be reusing the header section and also the background image, but we'll be changing the text to Tranquil Spa official blog, and then scrolling down we're going to have the individual blog posts on the left hand side, and we'll put 3 of those in our template. We'll have some links to older and newer posts, and on the right hand side we'll have a sidebar, and the sidebar will have a little bit of text about the website. We'll have an archives page where all the blog posts will be stored by month and year. We'll also be separating the blog posts into categories, and then if we go a little bit further down the page we'll also be reusing the footer section. So most of the sidebar will just be empty links for now. These will be generated dynamically in WordPress, so we'll just be adding them in Bootstrap as empty links to get the look and feel of the site right. So let's get started. So we'll head over to our text editor with our project, and then let's create a new page and save that as blog.html, and make sure that's saved in the same level as the index page. And then if you go into the index page that we finished earlier and select all and copy, and then we can use this as a starting point for our blog page and paste that in. So as we mentioned earlier, we'll be using the same header section. So if you scroll down to the end of the closing header tag, which is just there, we can start by deleting the welcome section and the latest office section, and keep going all the way down to the start of the footer section, and then delete that. So as it stands, we've just got the header and footer section. So the first thing I'm going to change is the feature text. We're just going to change this to Tranquil Spa official blog. There we go. And then we're going to use a Bootstrap template for our blogs. So if we head over to getbootstrap.com, and then select the Getting Started section, and then if we scroll down to the Bootstrap templates, you'll see there's some default templates that Bootstrap provides. There should be one called blog. So if you select the blog, we're going to be selecting some of the parts of this website to use as a template. So the sidebar is on the right hand side, and also the blog post on the left. So this is going to create a good starting point for our blog. So to get the code for this, we need to control click or right click and go to view page source. Okay, so we're going to copy the code with the blog post and the sidebar. So if you just scroll down a little bit further, and we need to copy the container, which is just below the blog masthead. So copy the opening container, and then down past the posts, and we need to copy all the way down to the sidebar. So that's the end of the sidebar, end of the row, and the end of the container. So copy all that section, and then go back into the text editor, and between the header and the footer section, let's paste that in. And to make things a little bit more clearer, we can add some comments. So let's add the first comment to the sidebar. So if we look for the end of the blog and paste this just below, and change the name to the sidebar section, and then scroll up, and then up to the opening blog post, which is just above the container. So paste that in, and this can be the blog section. Okay, so next we'll take a look at how that's looking so far, and we'll see what changes we need to make. Okay, so we've got our header section, and then we've got the sample blog post on the left and the sidebar exactly where we want it, and then we've got the footer section at the bottom. So back into the text editor, I just want to remove the Bootstrap blog heading at the top. So let's do that now. So we'll just delete the full div with the blog header. Okay. And let's take a look at that. Okay, so that's the heading removed. And by default, on the Bootstrap template that we just copied, there's 3 different styles of blog posts. So to keep our website consistent, I'm just going to use the 3rd blog post. So if we go back into the blog section, and each individual blog post has a class of blog post. So we know where each blog starts and ends. So this is the first one. And I'm going to scroll down to the closing tag for the blog post and delete this one. And I'm also going to delete the second blog post. So look for the closing div for the blog post and select that and delete. And then we're just left with the 3rd and final blog post. So to put this back in, I'm going to copy this style and then paste it back in twice below. And let's check that in the browser. So there we go. So now we've got 3 blog posts back on our page, but they're a consistent style. And then next we'll change the text in the About Us section on the sidebar. So we'll scroll down to the sidebar section, and if we locate the About section, we can just delete the sample text between the p tags. And let's put our own text in. So welcome to the official Tranquil Spa blog. Okay. And then a second sentence just below, also in p tags. So here you will find all the latest news. And what's going on here at the spa. Okay. So that's the About Us section. We'll keep the archives as it is for now, and we'll make this work dynamically in WordPress later on in the course. The Elsewhere section, let's change this to categories. And let's add some categories in there for now. So the first one we can be changing to news, and then offers, and then lastly uncategorized. And then we'll put our social media section in. So if we copy the sidebar module div and paste this in just below, we can change the categories to followers. And because we've got all the social media links already in the footer section, we can just go back into our index page and we can locate the social media icons down at the very bottom in the footer. So if we copy the 5 social media links and then paste these back into the blog section, delete those first and paste them in. And then let's save that and see how it's looking in the browser. Okay, that's looking fine. We've got the About Us text, we've then got the archives, the categories section and the social media section. So that's nearly finished with the blog HTML. Just one more little thing I'd like to change is if we go to the container for the blog. So one thing I'd like to change for the number of columns on the blog and the sidebar. So by default, Bootstrap has the blog section taking up 8 parts on the smaller devices. I'd like ours to be 12 columns wide for smaller devices, and then change to 8 on medium devices. And then we also need to go down to the sidebar section and do the same for the sidebar wrapper. To make the sidebar go full width on smaller devices, we can change that to 12 columns and then change it to called MD3 to take up 3 columns on medium devices. And then because we changed that to medium, we'll also change the offset on the medium devices to 1 just so there's a little bit of distance between the blog post and the sidebar, and save that. Okay, so that's us finished for the HTML for the blog section. If you join me in the next video, we'll continue with our blog page by adding the CSS.